Good morning, friends. When we discuss sociology, there are three types of difficulties. One is what a friend called yesterday speed. Now, the speed has been studied by many sociologists associated with post-structuralism and also by their critics. Now, the whole agenda of modernity is about speed. Therefore, when somebody says that speed is a problem in understanding what a sociology student is trying to communicate with fellow sociology students, it may have three connotations or three meanings. One, the speed may denote the movement of sentences or the body language. The second connotation is that one sociology student is talking to another sociology student in a slow pitch voice, and he is or she is making slow movements of his or her body parts. But that student of sociology may be throwing too many concepts in a very small fraction of time. Here, the speed has a different connotation which has no relationship with the movement of the tongue in the mouth. The speed lies in succession of concepts which is being used for communication. The third connotation of speed lies in the process of very speedy change of topics. Although the concept remains the same, but there is a very fast reporting or analysis of the changing dimensions of a particular concept within the discipline itself. I have told you I am from a very poor background. From a very unmodern, unindustrialized, primarily traditional background, village background, and my mother tongue is neither English nor Hindi nor Sanskrit nor Tamil nor French nor German nor Hebrew. Therefore, when I migrated from my village, for education, I faced this difficulty of speed in all the three senses I have just shared with you. Now, in case you know cycling, running fast on a cycle track is very easy. But running slow, very slow on a cycle track is difficult. Because it requires patience, balance, and a transcendental mentality. That I am not bothered about whether my co-cyclist go ahead of me and I may be left behind. But then I also realized that although I am capable of a very slow cycling in my destination, but the problem is that I am not riding a sports bicycle. Rather, I am riding a third, fourth, fifth hand cycle in a very backward area where usually even today 2.5 people reach their destination on a cycle. The person, his wife, and the small child. How many of you have seen such cycling on the road, not in television or film? Therefore, in my opinion, I will be delighted in case you are comfortable with this slower speed which I am speaking with today. And I do not bother about anything else. In case you are satisfied, you are happy, you are contented that just by slowing my speed, I can deserve your love, your affection, your comradeship. Comradeship not in the sense of, SFI or AISF. I am not a communist. I said I am a Buddhist sociologist. I follow Buddhist epistemology and I believe in Buddhist cosmology, and I am neutral to all the sociologists who are being taught. But then I will share with you my experience. I taught for the first time in 1986. And then also they complained about my speed. And they said that half of the things which you speak in the class, we are unable to process in our brain or digest in our habit. And I thought that I am not a good teacher. And I started calling myself a student in 1986, and I still maintain it. But some of those students have grown up children, and some of those children have become parents. Therefore, some of my students are grandparent. And now they tell me, sir, we never liked you when you taught. One, because you used to teach boring courses like theory, method, technique, and your speed was also very fast. And even if we try to take a note of yours, we were forced to take help of our classmates because you speak so fast that everybody is unable to write everything. As a result, you forced us to become interdependent. You forced us to communicate with our neighbors, in the classroom. But when we are old enough, it is your class notes which help in life. I said it is too late. Had you appreciated it when I was young, other succeeding batches would have benefited. Now I will share my trade secret. How to survive with your competitor's speed. There are only two techniques. One is yoga and the other is meditation. Many academicians around the world perform yoga or meditation around the concepts and the theories and the techniques and the data they have to deal every day in their professional life. And all of them have one thing in common: they write academic diary. René Descartes, the first philosopher who was called modern, called his first book Meditations on Truth and Reality. Therefore, in my understanding, the real problem which some of you may be facing or all of you may be facing is not my speed, rather my unorthodox method of teaching or communicating. Some of you those who have studied sociology in your school or college, you are suffering from anticipatory fear because you thought that Marx, Weber, or Durkheim are taught in the same way in which your teacher taught in your school or college. And I am not teaching like that. I know what I am doing. I am trying to transform you from a human being to a sociological being. I am pressurizing you consciously, deliberately, to talk, to communicate in sociology. Because I want to make you a social representative of your people. Most people think, and I will not say, I will not deny, that among the three sociologists, my preference goes like this. Number one, Emile Durkheim. Number two, Karl Marx. Number three, Max Weber. The reason? Sociology is a science of society. Now, what is society? I was just checking different dictionaries I have with me. For example, Penguin Dictionary, and then these two dictionaries, Penguin Dictionary of Sociology and this Blackwell's Dictionary of Sociology. No entry about society. And there is also no entry about man. Why it is like this? Yeah, neither about social. What is this? This is British or American style of teaching after the Second World War. Why? Take, for example, England, who ruled over us for 190 years. They came as a ruler of Bengal province in 1757, and they left us in 1947. But technically, we are still a member of the British Commonwealth. And the Queen of England is also our Queen according to Indian Constitution. But there was a man who was born in Scotland, England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. For North Ireland, the four constituents make Great Britain. But Britain today is separate from European Union, and politically, economically, militarily, intellectually, they have no power today, no status today, no authority today. The situation is so bad that I know personally students in the last 20 years who failed a 12th class exam in India, but their rich parents got them direct admission in Oxford and Cambridge. Although even the dubious colleges of India did not give them admission. Therefore, what I am trying to hint at is that in case you have decided to become a student of Center for the Study of Social Systems, you have some social responsibility towards your society, towards your democracy, but also towards your own culture and family. And you have to negotiate with speed. I do not mind about my speed. I am an old person. Nothing to achieve now. Whatever I deserved, I have achieved by the grace of Goddess. In Buddhism, there is no God, but there is a goddess. Her name is Tara. Now, I understand your problem because there is no proper dictionary available today for you. Not even the Social Science Encyclopedia, the single volume encyclopedia edited by Adam Cooper and Jessica Cooper, even third edition is not sufficient. But when we were students, there were two good books. This is still available, and students in rural India, kasbas, small towns, even small cities, there these books are found and consulted. I will refer to one book. The name of the book is Society, an Introductory Analysis. This was written by a person called Robert Morrison McIver, M-A-C, and then capital I-V-E-R, McIver. But he writes the two terms together. Therefore, some people pronounce it MacIver. When I was, in my village, I pronounced it village, V-I-L-L-A-G-E, village. But when I came to Delhi School of Economics, my teachers called it village. In our village, we used to call it health and healthy, H-E-L-T-H-Y. Our teachers called it healthy. Now, Pronunciations make some difficulty between communication of two persons. Sometimes speed makes the difference. Sometimes concepts are difficult or confusing. Therefore, I have meditated over your request about my speed, and I have demonstrated that I am capable of speaking slow as well. In case that makes you happy, please give your comments in the WhatsApp group. What do you want collectively? My normal speed, which is fast. Because I am from a village, because I am from a very poor family. Even today within the campus, I am one of the poor teachers because half of my salary goes in buying books and half of salary goes in donations. My family is run by my wife and children. The only thing which helped me was my speed. In case you are from a deprived background, in case you are a minority in your class, you will have to work hard, sometimes double, sometimes triple. But once you work hard, even for one semester, then you will be among the best of your batch. And even then, in case the majority of you want that I should speak in slow speed, I am capable of that. Now I'm talking about a book called Society and Introductory Analysis. This book was published by Robert Morrison McKeever alone in 1931. Then the second edition came in 1937. In the third edition, which was published in 1959, he collaborated with one of his students, Charles Page. And now this book is available on Amazon by McKeever and Page, Society. This is perhaps the best dictionary, although it is presented as a textbook. This is perhaps the best dictionary followed by sociological tradition of Robert Nisbet that gives you a solid foundation about different types of unit ideas or concepts which make the sociological language. In your orientation course, in your orientation program, somebody discussed about sociological imagination. Then when I started teaching this course, I said sociological experience, and now I'm talking about sociological language. These are three dimensions of the same process of learning and communicating in sociology. Now let us come to the yesterday lecture. I was dealing with division of labor, and I discussed with you 2-3 paragraphs. I will give you my last paragraph. This is not from the book The Division of Labor in Society. Rather, this is from an essay which Durkheim wrote in his journal Sociological in 1898, 1898, and it was translated in English language for the first time in 1963. The whole journal, all volumes of this journal, NA Sociology, is available in the textbook section of JNU General Library. Unfortunately, it will be full of dirt even if JNU reopens sooner, because very few students of sociology, including the teachers who still read, very few of them have consulted these journals. The essay which he wrote in 1898 is entitled Homo Duplex. And I am quoting in direct narration from Durkheim about his concept of Homo Duplex. The other paragraphs are also from Durkheim, but from a book called The Division of Labor in Society. This is from an essay called Homo Duplex, published in 1898. And I'm quoting him in direct narration. I will be slow so that you can make a note. Quotation begins, far from being simple, our inner life had something like a double center of gravity, full stop. Should I repeat? Far from being simple, our inner life had something like a double center of gravity, full stop. On the one hand is our individuality. Then there are certain sentences which I have omitted, but I am quoting him directly. On the other is everything in us. On the other is everything in us that expresses something other than ourselves. Full stop. I am repeating. On the one hand is our individuality, and then he wrote a few sentences which I think is difficult for MA first semester, and therefore I am omitting, but you can consult when JNU reopens the journals, different volumes of NA Sociology which Durkheim edited. On the other is everything in us that expresses something other than ourselves. Full stop. Not only are these two groups of states of consciousness different in their origins and their properties, but there is a true antagonism between them. Quotation ends. Repeating, not only are these two groups of states of consciousness different in their origins and their properties, comma, but there is a true antagonism between them. Quotation ends. Now, Sigmund Freud, the noted father of psychoanalysis, used this Durkheimian idea of homo duplex in his essay, which is available in the booklet form, Civilization and its Discontents. Then there is a new author, not a very famous sociologist, but he is a person who is trained in sociology, but he has decided to work as a, serious, responsible journalist. He followed Emile Durkheim's concept of homo duplex, and just to make you, a little lighter, since I'm teaching a serious course in a very, very boring manner, just in a lighter vein, I'm sharing what David Foster Wallace, Wallace, David Foster Wallace said. I'm quoting him, but the young educated adults of the 90s got to watch all this brave new individualism and self-expression and sexual freedom deteriorate into the joyless and anemic self-indulgence of the me generation. Some of you may object to this because he is referring to me generation. There was a Me Too movement in 2018, which in my personal capacity I supported. But he is making a sociological analysis of the Me Too generation. He is careful, he just wrote me generation. He did not refer to Me Too movement. This is just a precaution so that nobody goes in the court and, files a defamation charge against him. I will repeat again, but the young educated adults of the 90s got to watch all this brave new individualism and self-expression and sexual freedom deteriorate into the joyless and the anemic self-indulgence of the me generation. Today's sub-40s have different horrors, prominent among which are anomie and solipsism, solipsism, and a peculiar loneliness. The prospect of dying without once having loved something more than yourself. What I am trying to hint at is that Emile Durkheim is a different type of sociologist than Max Weber and Karl Marx. He discusses both the concept of man and the concept of society. In the first book which he wrote, that is the division of labor in society, but he does not use any of these terms, concept of man and concept of society, in the entire book. Why? There are two reasons. When Durkheim was a student himself, when he was first semester student of sociology, he was taught Aristotle's notion of society and Aristotle's notion of man. And please remember, where he was writing, Aristotle. He was writing in ancient Greece. Was he? No. He was writing in the Greek language, but there was no Greek country as we know it today. There was no Greek society as we know it today. He was writing in a city-state, Athens. And there were other Greek city-states like Sparta and Macedonia. Alexander was born in Macedonia, and he was one of the students of Aristotle. Aristotle was himself a student of Plato, and Plato was himself a student of Socrates. Now, Aristotle had not written any book on society or man. He just took it for granted from Plato, and the famous book of Plato is Republic. Therefore, there is an author who has written this book. Classical Horizons, the Origins of Sociology in Ancient Greece. This is neither compulsory nor suggested reading for you, just, playfully, in a lighter vein, I showed this book. Therefore, what is the concept of society for Aristotle or Plato? There are two terms. One is the state and the other is society. In Aristotle and Plato, there is one term called society, and there is another term called the state. There is no concept of market, because market as we know it today did not exist in ancient times anywhere in the world. Of course, there was a haat and bazaar, but haat was, a weekly affair. The loose translation of what haat and bazaar will be the same market. There was a small market, that is haat, which used to take place, which used to spring up from nowhere or everywhere at a public place in ancient Greece or ancient Rome or ancient China or ancient India or ancient Egypt. But that was an event. The haat or bazaar in ancient times was an event. It was not an institution as it is today. Therefore, how the ancients understood society and the state within a broader rubric, called civilization. In other words, both society and state were two elements of civilization or two parts of civilization. When Emile Durkheim was writing, or when he was a student, there were four things which was discussed in the theory of civilization: the state, the military society, the civil society, and the market. These four constituted the European notion of civilization when Emile Durkheim was a student and when he was writing as a researcher, and it continued when he was a teacher. I will take this up next week.